I've been to many conferences, and people in the audience are listening to someone on stage talking about blockchain, and no one really understands it. And they start nodding their head, and everyone's telling them how great it is, and there comes a point where they start believing it simply because everyone says it's great. So let me tell you what blockchain is. So blockchain is big news. It's everywhere you look, with all sorts of people telling you it's going to change the world. So what is it? In essence, it's quite simple. Blockchain is a database, but it's one which is secure and immutable, which means it can be relied upon, which means the data does not need to be checked by intermediaries, which means intermediaries are not needed and can be removed from a process, which means processes can occur far faster between parties without the need for third-party validations. And in essence, that's what it's all about. So let me explain it in a bit more detail. Imagine a whole series of electronic transfers of data, say a music file or an email or a property contract, and each of these files is hashed. Hashed means it is put through what's known as a hash algorithm, and what the output is a load of gobbledygook. You wouldn't really understand it. Now, imagine you've got 100 pieces of data in a row, and each one of these pieces of data is hashed. So each one is scrambled. And imagine they're all scrunched together into a block, and that block is in itself hashed. And then imagine another 100 pieces of data above, and each one of these pieces of data is hashed and scrunched together and put into a block. And one of these blocks is the block from before. And then imagine a third piece of 100 pieces of data, and what you've got is you've got a chain of blocks, each dependent upon each other, and hence you've got a blockchain. And the point about blockchain is that if you change a hash because of a tiny piece of data being changed, which is what occurs, you're changing every single subsequent item. So to change one tiny piece, a full stop or of anything in an email, will have an impact on every single block going forward. So that's the point about it, is it's very, very hard to change and maintain stability, and as a result, you have a piece of data, a database which can't be changed. That's the first thing. The second key point about blockchain is that it's decentralized. The idea being it's on multiple servers throughout the world. So you combine this idea of having to try and change all these hashed pieces of data and on multiple servers throughout a different environment, it's impossible. And that's why blockchain is an immutable database, and that's the key to it. You don't actually need to know how it works. You don't ask a car salesman the mechanics of a car when you buy it. You just want to know it's got an engine. And think of businesses embracing blockchain in exactly the same way. You don't need to know how the blockchain operates, really. You just need to know it's there. I think it's going to be a stamp of integrity on any business. It's when you consider how it removes the intermediaries from the process that how it has a tremendous impact upon the property industry. For example, if you're checking the identity of various people, which we all have to do now for the new AML regulations, if you could rely 100% on a data field that you're pulling in from another supplier, you don't have to check someone's AML. You know that they're good. So you've got an instant way of clearing someone for KYC. That's an example of the significance. Now, you may have heard of the term of smart contracts. People heard of smart contracts? No? Well, the idea of a smart contract is this. It's a rule. Say you set up a rule where one person puts a blue file into a blockchain and another person puts a red file into a blockchain and out throws a yellow file. This creation of the yellow file is automatic. That, in essence, is what a smart contract is. So imagine a house buyer submits a request to a bank for a mortgage. The bank may have created a rule where if the borrower has a certain credit rating, money can be lent on given terms. The bank will be able to gather the credit rating information instantly from linking with an appropriate database, and if the rule is met, the smart contract's created. So you put this into a chain of events, and you can see how blockchain will work to massively reduce time, effort, and costs of obtaining a mortgage. I mean, it can happen instantly. And the same thing can and will happen to every process in the property purchase cycle. So when I see a house I want to buy, and the seller agrees the price with me, I think this is what's going to happen. On your phone, you're going to press a button, It's going to fire off a request to the mortgage company. The mortgage company is going to check you instantly from other reliable blockchain databases. They will instantly issue you a mortgage offer, and you will press a button and you will instantly accept it. And I think that is what could happen, and it could happen to every part of the process relating to property transactions. And the question is, will it? Now, I'll tell you how I got into this and why I'm doing it. So I created, with some colleagues, a platform called Click-to-Purchase. And it's a platform where you can legally exchange a property contract online at the press of a button. An offer is made. This generates an electric contract note with a legally binding digital signature. If the offer is accepted, an instant contract is created, instant like that. And the platform provides best offers, tender, auction, and artificial intelligence auctions. Now, when an offer is made, we create digitally encrypted signatures, and they're hashed. And since we were already using hash and encryption technology, recording transactional data, we decided to try putting it into a blockchain ledger because it was a natural progression of our business. And we launched the Click-to-Purchase blockchain ledger in October 2017. 5th of October at 12:36, an investor submitted an online click-to-purchase offer for a property in Trowbridge known as Dorothy House. At 1:41, the offer was accepted, and at 1:42, the transaction was recorded in a blockchain ledger. And this was the first property worldwide purchased online and recorded in a blockchain ledger. And the significance of it is this, is that the purchaser had absolute proof that they paid, I think it was £700,000. They paid £700,000 for this property. It was in a ledger which couldn't be changed because when I earlier explained to you about hashing and how hashing creates an immutable record in a blockchain. So in theory, if someone had hacked into the system and changed the purchase price from 700 to 800 and said, you owe me £800,000, the purchaser could say, I've got absolute proof in a ledger that I paid 700. And that's what blockchain is all about. So why did I do it? Why did we build it for our business? Well, we were already using encryption and hash technology, as I mentioned, so we wanted to put it into blockchain. I wanted to be seen to be used blockchain. I didn't want to just understand it. I wanted to actually start using it and experiment. But the key really is I wanted a seat at the table. I wanted to be involved. I wanted to be at the forefront. I wanted to see how the world is changing. And Dorothy House in Trowbridge was the first. So what's happening? Well, I'm a property agent. I went into technology about 10 years ago, and probably long before the word PropTech had ever been heard of. And I watched the industry slowly come round. 2 years ago, you started hearing the word PropTech. But in the last 6 months, the blockchain wave has come at an extraordinary pace. And anybody who's not embraced with it really must get embraced with it because it is so significant for our industry. I think there are some pitfalls, though. I think that there are people dreaming up business ideas just to put the word blockchain in place, trying to raise money. And there's been a dramatic buzz with what's called initial coin offerings, where people have been creating blockchain businesses to try and raise money. But I think a lot of it relates to people trying to come up with a business idea to use blockchain technology rather than actually having a solid business case which then applies blockchain to it. So the key is it will not make a bad business good. But a lot of people don't understand the significance of it, and there's just this wave. It's a bit like it's the tech, when the tech boom occurred a few years back, people are rushing in, but I already see it starting to subside. So I think the blockchain is going to dramatically change the property business. I think it's going to dramatically change all our lives. There are so many areas where it will make our life easier. I mean, in my house, at the moment, you buy a house, there's a whole long process involved. But what's going to happen is that you're all going to have a digital wallet. In the same way you've got a wallet or a purse in your pocket, you're going to have a digital wallet. And in the digital wallet, you'll have ownership of your property, which will be recorded at the land registry in some sort of blockchain ledger. And when somebody wants to buy your house, you can pass them your proof. You can pass them your digital file. And they've got absolute proof that you own that property. And that's where it's going to go, which means you're going to remove intermediaries, which means if you think about lawyers, I don't know if there are any lawyers here. Any lawyers here? Oh, one lawyer. Okay. I think lawyers are very vulnerable because I think lawyers the idea of needing to check someone owns a property, it will be removed. And that's just one example of the process of what blockchain is going to do. But I would say, having worked now and used blockchain, people are very interested. It does it will change our industry, and I would encourage everybody to embrace it and to learn about it. So I didn't want to get too heavy about the technology, but I think hopefully that is an introduction. If anybody wants to ask me any questions, it's my favorite subject. I'm a real dinner party bore when it comes to talking about blockchain. In fact, my wife woke up one morning, she said, you talk about it so much, I dreamt I went to Waitrose and I paid in cryptocurrency. But that's a whole different subject. Okay, so thank you very much.